Hey everyone, Ryan here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the premier modern classic Mahogany. This is quite a sentimental drum to me. Originally I actually won it in a competition from a local drum shop called Absolute Music. And they were asking you to do like a 2-minute drum composition or solo. And I was fortunate enough to be picked to win it. The prize was presented to me by a guy called Austin Lane, who in the sort of Poole and Bournemouth areas of the UK is well known as a bit of a legend in the drum shops. Whenever you go into a drum shop in that area, he was like always the guy behind the counter. And sadly, he's recently passed away. And it's given me really fond memories of, when I think of this drum, I think of like going into a shop when I was, in my early stages of drumming, too shy and afraid to touch or play anything. And I remember sort of getting my first serious kit, and I asked him to demo it for me because I was kind of too scared to play it myself, really. So yeah, it's kind of like he was an absolute staple of a drum shop. You'd go there to look at all the new gear they had in stock, but also just to sit there for an hour and talk about drummer talk that you can't talk about elsewhere. So he's sadly missed by the community at large in the area. A real gent, and also like an inspiring guy to a younger generation. He was always about like the next series of drummers that were up and coming. So yeah, a lovely, lovely man. So specs wise, I think it's a 14x4.5. I could be wrong on that. It's a mahogany shell. It's got extremely rounded, curved kind of baseball bat edges, I believe they're often described as. And this drum was actually made by the people behind British Drum Company, or BDC. I think the guy's name is Keith Keough. I'm not exactly sure how that's pronounced, but he was originally signed up to be the head of like Premier's high-end UK drums that they started making for a while. Sadly, it seemed like Premier didn't stick with that idea for very long, and then Keith went on to then do the British Drum Company instead. So in terms of quality, I believe that this is like the finest sort of craftsmanship you're going to get in a British made drum, really. So I think it's got brass tube lugs, and these are quite unique because they've got these kind of little grooved intersections on the tubes themselves. There's kind of locking washers everywhere. The other hardware is the kind of unusual thing for me I've never come across or never had a chance to play. It's like a single flange hoop. And as a result, you have these like claw hooks. I don't know if you can really see that. But you've got these little claw hooks all the way around, which aesthetically, I love the look of it. When it came to the kind of tuning range examples, I backed all the lugs back down to completely loose and then did like a finger tight setting on all of them. But even there, it really took me a while with the fine tuning to get all the lugs to a similar pitch. And again, I think that's due to the fact that the claws can slide on the hoop.
2 hours later. 4 hours later.
So aside from the single flange hoops and the claws, we've also got I think it's a dunette throw off, and it's actually got 3 positions. So there's like 3 little locks, and you've got this kind of quite cool, let's just see, there we go, kind of like a beer tap sort of throw off. So it's like first position, locks into second, locks into third, and then obviously releases. So yeah, that's a really nice throw off and a very smooth tension adjuster on top. Sadly, I don't think these are in production anymore, but yeah, again, a very great throw. So this is one drum where I decided not to go with the stock items that were fitted. And as a result, I fitted an Evans Strata 1000, which is kind of like an orchestral marching head. And that's the vibe I wanted out of this drum, was somewhere between like a vintage marching drum, but something like orchestral as well. So I put that head on top, which is kind of got this frosted coating to it. Has kind of smoothed out at this point because I've played it quite a bit, but it's got this kind of unusual like browny green colour to it. It's quite an unusual kind of head. Underneath, I've also changed the wires, which is something I rarely do, but I've gone for something very particular. So it's a very thin strand. I don't know if you can really see that there. I think it's like it's a 12 strand pure sound wire, and again I wanted something that was like going to be very dry and articulate but also not too loud. This drum definitely cuts, but it's like the snare response is not, to me, like a normal drum. Like it's definitely, the way it's set up now is like a less versatile option, but I actually wanted that, so that I picked this up and it's kind of got a vibe to it. For most of the examples in this video, I had this drum with 2 big Meinl gels on there as well. Because I actually quite like it for this really dry, cranked kind of pop sound to it. So before we end this video, I'd like to ask you a question. Do you ever think about changing your heads and your snare wires to something a little bit unusual and a bit weird to give you that option? Or are you just looking for like standard sound, I just want it to sound good? Thanks as always for watching the video. If you've got any thoughts, please leave them in the comments below. And as always, a like and a subscribe would really mean a lot to me. At this point, I'm really close to 1,000 subscribers, and hopefully by the end of this year, we'll be there and some more. So I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye.